can't do this again.
What? What? Oh!
We're on it.
Hello, Fairfield, and welcome to another exciting episode of Fairfield 2.0. Today with, all the way down there, Mike Dooley. We'll be talking about anime, and he'll be talking about some games, that pile of things that we see at the end there, plus more.
Much more.
Much more. And we also have Gareth West here, freshly back from Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Who'll be giving us a report, and let's start on that end. Mike Dooley, sir, can you show us one of these fine games that you brought in and give us a little update on it, a little report?
Okay. The one game, unfortunately, that I do not have here.
Oh,
Minecraft.
Or that.
What is awesome. It is an awesome sandbox game for Xbox 360. And the reason why I don't have it here, it's download exclusive. And it's actually an update, I think, without one thing that the PC version had. Which is a super secret thing that not even the creators know about.
What would that be?
Yeah.
Something that a lot of the Minecraft fan base has created, being this mysterious character named Herobrine, who could sneak into your single player game without you knowing it.
Oh my god.
And
he
he is
the
this...
Minecraft Ninja. The
No.
Minecraft
He
Ninja.
can sneak in easily, and what he's described to be is the default skin without any pupils, which is just creepy in amongst itself.
Dun, dun,
Now,
dun.
Minecraft is a kind of slightly popular game.
No, it is extremely popular.
Extremely
Don't step on that landmine, jeez.
Yeah, and what you pretty much do is, well, you can do anything in the game. Want to build a castle? Yeah, go ahead.
Can you be Batman? Is my first question. Yes.
Can you be Batman?
It's a possibility.
Okay, not everything, but you can build everything.
Okay, cool. Have you? How many hours a day do you spend on that game?
Surprisingly not a lot, even though how much I love the game.
I have a question. So Minecraft was originally created for the PC, correct?
Yeah.
So what are the differences between the two?
The aforementioned Herobrine. And well, other than that, not a lot.
Not a lot.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay.
If they can transfer it, that's the best, right? Yeah. So.
Now, you play this game too?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm not ashamed to admit I have no life, for those of you out there. And, I find it a lot of fun. So, yeah.
All right, let's keep going. We have a pile of games here. What else you got?
Left 4 Dead 2.
Ooh.
This is an awesome first-person shooter, where you pretty much go around...
First-person shooter? You go around shooting people?
Yeah, who's the second-person shooter?
No, what you do
That's
in
what it's called
this...
too.
Yeah.
What you do, instead of shooting people, you actually shoot crap tons of zombies.
Oh.
Well, zombies are people, too.
That.
Right.
Well, and this, because they're not the whole risen from the dead thing. They're infected people.
They're infected people. Okay, so what happens to these infected people once you... Like, what's the graphic on the screen once you blow them away?
Blood
That's all I care about.
A little bit of blood, and the big one, though, the harder than heck one, the tanks.
The tanks.
The tanks!
Not the tanks, anything but the tanks. What happens with the tanks?
Well, what they are they're big frickin' zombies that their entire torso is just huge. And they just run at you.
Oh, you think of one person that reminds me of?
And you need the entire team to kill a single tank. And then, of course...
And you like this, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
It sometimes relieves stress.
Sometimes it relieves stress. What else you got there?
Halo Wars. This is, I think, one of the...
You called it a Halo. It's called Halo
Wars.
Halo.
Yeah, Halo
I think
Wars.
I've heard of that before.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah.
Well, this is, I think, the only real-time strategy game in this series. And
It is, yeah. I'm a huge Halo fan. So.
And surprisingly, this is not the first FPS game, not FPS, real-time strategy game that I've actually played.
What is the first one?
Yeah.
Technically, it is Fallout Tactics on the PC.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, so you played two, they both branch off from really popular franchises.
Actually, I think Fallout Tactics is pretty early compared to the new one, compared to the other ones.
Now, why do you like this one as opposed to any of the other ones?
Actually, well, it uses a much more popular franchise. Like, and it also has one of my all-time favorite characters in gaming alone, Master Chief.
No, not Master Chief.
No.
Oh my God. How does Master? No, as if he didn't know. This I actually do know.
Yeah.
So tell us about Master Chief.
He is a Spartan warrior, which is, in a nutshell, goes around and kills aliens, kind of like Bill Reiser from Contra.
Nice.
If he had armor,
All right. Now
and
you
didn't
played.
run around shirtless like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You played this game.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge Halo fan. I have every single Halo game in the franchise.
So he knows much more about Halo than I do.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think that's being said here, but I think that if you guys were to play each other,
He would win.
All right, wait. Where I'm going with this is what would the game be? First of all, which of these do you think you'd be?
Any of the I'm not great at that game actually. Any of the Halo 1, 2, 3 Reach.
Yeah,
'cause-
I'm also not great at this game. RTS is not my best genre, which will come up to my best genre soon.
All right. Well, let's get to your best genre. Let's enough of this Halo thing. That'll never catch on. Halo, please.
Being Marvel vs. Capcom 3. This is part of my all-time favorite genre, being the fighting game genre.
Oh my.
Which it has characters from crap tons of awesome Capcom franchises and crap tons of awesome Marvel comics. Some of the Capcom classic games that are put into this are Darkstalkers, Street Fighter, Devil May Cry, Beautiful Joe, Resident Evil, and, well, Mega Man. Which, unfortunately, the original Mega Man is not in this, unlike the other versions of it.
All right.
Mega Man wasn't invited.
What translation?
Mega Man was not in it because I don't know why he wasn't in it. I mean, Mega Man is one of Capcom's most popular characters, let alone Capcom's #1 selling franchise.
All right, Capcom. Let's get the history of this because I'm not sure that most people know how this fits into the whole Marvel universe, the whole Capcom thing.
This is actually a separate universe from the normal universe of Marvel and the normal universe of Capcom.
So we won't see Tobey Maguire fighting any of these guys, right?
No.
Okay.
Kind of sad, but
Poor
okay, continue.
Toby.
Continue.
Poor Toby.
Well, and real quick, I am going to spoil one thing.
Uh-oh.
Oh, spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert.
Galactus is the final boss. That's all I'm saying.
So
All right.
Galactus. Huh?
All right.
Well, yeah.
Well, figures Galactus would be the final boss. I mean, come on. The subtitle alone is Fate of Two Worlds.
Well, now you play these two, obviously.
Yeah, I play these. I'm not good at them, but I definitely do
Unlike
play
me,
them.
who has actually beaten this game,
Yeah.
although with a lot of trying, because only
Practice.
one character I had the most troubles getting her ending being Trish from Devil May Cry. Frickin' Galactus.
What are the crossover? There are obviously many crossover characters.
Yeah, I mean, it's got Morrigan, Felicia, Heisen Ko from Darkstalkers, Akuma, Ryu, Chun-Li, Sea Viper from Street Fighter, Dante and Trish from Devil May Cry, Beautiful Joe from, well, Beautiful Joe.
So if you're not a gamer and you don't know a lot, like I am a gamer, but for all those billions of people who aren't, you probably couldn't know a lot of these people or where they come from.
Actually, you could. It's called Wikipedia.
Oh, yeah. But let me ask you, with this universe versus the other Marvel universe, there really isn't a lot of crossover.
Well, technically there was one other crossover for Marvel, which was with the DC universe, but that's another story.
All right. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Marvel versus DC. Where do you want to start? DC wins. Is what...
No, Marvel I think would have won because
love
of Hulk.
this. Marvel versus DC.
Hulk wins.
I think Superman could definitely throw him into outer space. I'm just saying.
No, Hulk actually could have pounded the crap out of him easily. Because the more you hit Hulk, the angrier he gets, and the stronger he gets.
Well, you know, the one thing Batman does keep in his utility belt is horse tranquilizers. So, you know.
Yeah, and I think Captain America could have chucked his shield at Batman's face.
All right, you've heard it here first. This is how we're going to take care of these characters if there's ever a problem.
Yeah.
I want to know. I want to know of all. Okay, we have a pile of games, and you haven't hit a couple of them yet. Let's go there. What else you got over there?
And finally, Warhammer Battle March.
Warhammer.
This is based on the highly popular Warhammer franchise, which my dad just so happens to have played.
Your dad being Bill Dooley.
Yeah.
Bill Dooley, the very fine,
The legendary
Bill Dooley over at FMC.
Sure.
Okay.
And, well, in this, you can play for multiple different classes, like orcs, elves, skaven. I forgot the other one, but mainly because I'm too busy playing as the orcs.
All right.
Because I love playing as orcs.
When you play this, what do you play as?
I have
What?
never played.
What?
Sorry.
We
Yeah.
have a game
Call
here
me a
that you've never
heathen, but
Oh my
yes,
God.
I have never played that
Oh
game.
my God.
Hey, he's not alone. I haven't played one other big franchise everybody loves.
What is that?
Surprisingly, I have not really played a lot of Final Fantasies.
Final Fantasy.
Actually, neither have I.
You've never played Final
Yeah,
Fantasy?
Final
Well,
Fantasy.
I've only played like
the older ones
two.
I played, but
I've only played like 2 Final Fantasy games.
Okay.
Being Final Fantasy X and oh wait, that's the only Final Fantasy game I've played. And also Phoenix Wright, which is another game I have not played yet, but I definitely do know about. And Kingdom Hearts, which is a game
I
I'm
love
so
Kingdom
truly
Hearts.
wanting
Yeah,
to get it
I love Kingdom
into
Hearts.
because it's a crossover between 2 of my favorite things, Final Fantasy and Disney.
Disney is one of your favorite things too?
Yeah, Kingdom
Yeah, I
Hearts
love
is
watching
like,
the
it's
Disney
like a
movies
fighting
and
game.
No,
and
it's
Mickey
an
Mouse
RPG.
gives you the sword.
It's an
Is that how that
RPG.
works? Oh.
But then again, Kingdom Hearts is my only RPG game that I'm wanting to play badly, like Earthbound,
Earthbound.
which is a Nintendo
Bound to
RPG.
Earth.
Okay, now Nintendo versus Xbox versus
Xbox.
Xbox.
Yeah.
How about you?
Me, yeah, I love Nintendo and I love Sony. Xbox though is my favorite.
Woo!
Okay,
Yeah.
there you go. See, we're in agreement here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
Xbox wins.
Though, if you're talking before
Ah.
the 360,
Or caveat,
I'm
yeah.
going Sony.
Oh, PS2. I like the PS2 too. So
Though,
What do you play most often?
PS2 actually. No wait, Xbox 360 because it's the only console that I own that has one of my all-time favorite franchises, Splatterhouse,
Splatterhouse.
which I will get to some other day, most likely when I'm older because it is rated M.
Oh, okay.
But I still have played it. It is freaking awesome.
Okay.
So you know, the reason Xbox 360 is better is because the number is higher than PS2.
No,
Obviously. That's right. All right, now we're going to get to you, buddy. All right, wise guy, let's talk about Comic-Con a little bit.
All right.
There's all this stuff.
Comic-Con. Where
This
to
stuff.
start?
And I think, you know what, let's seg nicely into, since Mike is an expert on anime, let's go here first.
Yeah. All right. So this.
Is Dragon Ball Z
Yeah.
the Broly second coming?
Yeah. This is it's one of the kind of earlier Dragon Ball Z movies, but Dragon Ball Z is an anime. It
Well,
was originally created.
Technically, this is one of the later ones because it came out towards the end of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it's in the third out of the. You can break it up into 3 sagas, and it's in the third one, which is the latest one.
Mhm.
And
Speaking of which, did I tell you they are coming out with a new Dragon Ball movie that is taking place between where this movie takes place and the end of it?
really, do tell.
I don't know much about it, but I do know they are making it, and it is not going to be live action, unlike the movie that a lot of Dragon Ball fans hated on, Dragon Ball Evolution, which was the latest Dragon
Well,
Ball movie.
actually, we got a Dragon Ball Evolution story from Comic-Con. We met James Marsters, the he
Guy who played Piccolo.
Yeah, he is also people most likely know him from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was Spike, which is a big character in like the I think 4th season is where he's introduced. I can't remember, but
He was also an angel.
yeah, he's in Angel, and he played the same character, Spike, and he was in Smallville, first person. He was the fun fact, only person to ever play Brainiac the Superman villain,
That's right.
live action. Yeah.
That's right. Now, what did he say?
Actually, technically, he played Brainiac 5, one of the only heroic Brainiacs.
There you go. And he also played Brainiac 5.
Yeah.
Which
Which
is
at the
one
time
of my
was
all-time
episode
favorite DC characters.
Are you a fan of Legion of Superheroes?
Yes.
Get out of the way, kid. All right.
I mainly got into it through the TV show, though.
Nice. Legion of Superheroes was my favorite. All right, my turn. Legion of Superheroes was one of my favorite comics when I was growing up. That was my comic. That was my favorite comic.
For me, it's actually, when it comes to American comics, surprisingly, it's an obscure one, being Cyberforce from Image. It's one of my all-time favorite team-up stories.
All right.
It's got, one, and also had an awesome crossover with another awesome Image character being the Pit.
The Pit.
The Pit.
Not the Pit.
Not the Pit.
Anything with the Pit. All right, back to Brainiac and Brainiac 5, meeting James Marsters.
Yeah.
He also had a story about, didn't he have a story about why he did the Dragon Ball Z movies?
Oh, yeah. He was a really nice guy. I got to ask him a question. And
That's
he
right.
was...
We have proof of this.
I know.
We might actually be able to show it on screen because we have a photo of it.
But anyway, so he talked, and he said that Dragon Ball Z, the aforementioned Dragon Ball Z.
It looks like it's signed, too, by the way.
It is signed by Dragon Ball Z. Broly's Second Coming is signed by the guy who voices Broly, Vic Mignogna. Yeah, so.
I like
Who
that
also
last
did
name.
voice
I
Edward
said
Elric
Mignogna.
in Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, he's a really talented voice actor.
Yeah, he also did voice one of my all-time favorite characters from another anime that I watched, being he voiced Ikaku in Bleach.
Oh,
Oh, what are some of your favorite? The sidebar. We'll be right back to Comic-Con after this message. Get into some anime just for a little bit. What are some of your favorite animes?
Bleach, Naruto, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh. Though not the new Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. I'm still a stickler for the old stuff. Kinnikuman, Man, watch Japan only, except for Ultimate Muscle.
Rat.
God, what else? Oh yeah.
My
Bleach.
favorite anime, Akira. That was a safe one. I had to go right to Akira. Sorry.
Astro Boy, because come on.
Astro
Astro
Boy.
Boy.
I applaud you, sir, Astro Boy.
No other can a little boy in a Speedo battle evil with laser beams coming
He
out of his
shot
eyes.
rockets, by the way, out of his legs. And, that actually, Astro Boy was a thing I grew up on too. The black and white version, but we're not going to go there. Okay, continue.
And actually, I am going to mention some video game anime. Street Fighter 2 V, based on the Street Fighter 2 game, which awesome anime. You can actually get it on Netflix. The Darkstalkers OVA, awesome. And the Mega Man anime stuff, believe me,
Well, is Mega Man a really man? I think he's a boy, isn't he?
Actually, no, he's a robot.
Well,
Not quite a man.
Oh.
But getting back
It's
to
false advertising.
false advertising. All right, Sue. Back to old Comic-Con here and James Marsters.
Yeah, James Marsters, he described Dragon Ball Z as the smartest cartoon he's ever seen. So, back up, everybody.
Now, who left Comic-Con with every episode of the Dragon Ball Z series?
No.
Someone in this room?
Yeah. Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah, I got a great deal on that. But he
You should have also gotten every episode of GT and the original Dragon Ball.
I actually have every episode of GT already. Yeah, got the complete series. I don't.
Now all you need is just the original Dragon Ball, and then
I
you're
know.
set for Dragon
Jason,
Ball.
are you catching that?
Yeah.
Okay, Jason's okay. Hey, you could actually be in this conversation, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Jason and Bill could be in this room having this conversation. Jason's like,
He'd probably say I'd have Tourette's for mentioning all this anime.
all right. Now you got. Let's do the.
You were in love with how he described Dragon Ball Z.
I did.
weren't you?
That's the deal. Let's get into that. I thought that one of the things he said is that one of the lines he said there was that the difference between it. He thought that it taught really good values, like the difference
and
between
how to be a man. Yeah.
and how to be a man. As in, he said the difference between a boy and a man. A boy before he's a man creates chaos and then tries to solve the chaos in order to prove he's a man, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, but when you're a man, you're a
You're
peacekeeper.
peaceful, you're goofy, and
You're
you're,
goofy, you're
fun-loving.
peaceful, and you're
Yeah,
fun-loving.
and he compared it to the main character, Goku, in the franchise. And so he said some really cool stuff about Dragon Ball Z, and he he also said a lot of people hate on that movie he made, Dragon Ball Evolution. He was Piccolo in it. And but he says, compared to Dragon Ball Z, it was really tamed down, but he says Dragon Ball, which is the previous one, it was
Which
pretty-
is what Evolution is based on.
Yeah. He said that compared to Dragon Ball, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I would actually agree.
Are there any? Are you watching animes and like learning life lessons? What
Sort
is
of.
this?
Not
It's
really
supposed to
for
be
me, because
fun.
I watch a lot of the hardcore pound the crap out of people anime.
Okay. And how about you?
What we've gotten from Comic-Con is the entire Dragon Ball Z series, and I'm going through that progressively and watching every single episode of that.
So you only have like 1 or 2 episodes left, I imagine,
Obviously,
right?
out of 253, I'm already done.
Yes, but I know that thing's been around the clock. You got a signature from
Vic Magonia.
Magonia.
Yeah, the voice of Broly.
And Ikaku and Edward Elric.
Yeah, in all
I
three
just have
of
to
the
mention that.
Dragon Ball Z. He appeared the most out of any Dragon Ball Z villain. So he got called back. You would never tell it. He's this big, like, voiced guy in the series, but in person, he's got a very light voice. Actually, it's not deep and throaty, so it must have actually been a little bit uncomfortable.
What's real quick? Vic Magonia is one of my favorite anime voice actors, next to Sean Schemmel, voice of Goku.
Yeah,
Love his work.
And your favorite voiceover actor, and I know this, is? Come on, I know this.
You know this.
DC Universe.
Oh, DC Universe. Well, Kevin Conroy, but who do you think?
Okay, right, of course. All right, that would be the number one. I was wrong then. All right, the second would be
Second.
a certain Young Justice character.
I mean, yeah, I like his work on, just definitely on
As in
Young
Jesse
Justice.
McCartney.
McCartney. Yeah, I have to say, not a huge fan of his other stuff, but his Young Justice voice work is really awesome.
And
He
that's-
plays Robin and then Nightwing.
Right,
later on.
and this is a character. These are characters you've never liked before until you heard them and saw them on Young Justice, Robin and Nightwing.
No, yeah, I've hated Robin and
Right.
Nightwing for.
Right.
No, I'm a huge
Unlike
Robin
me.
and Nightwing fan.
Unlike me,
Yes,
even though Robin.
See, you got that.
We could get into this. What were you going to say about Robin, buddy?
Okay, Robin isn't my all-time favorite sidekick in DC. Still, my favorite is actually Superboy.
Superboy. Another. How do you like that? Another common denominator here. Yeah, I liked. Which do you like, the old Superman Superboy, or do you like Connor Kent?
Connor Kent.
All right.
And if
Nice,
I
he's
really
going
did
wrong.
want to get
Tim
all
Drake Robin.
talky.
Tim Drake Robin.
My second favorite though is surprisingly the one who eventually went into the Sinestro Corps, being Superboy Prime.
Oh, Superboy Prime. He's an evil guy. What do you
Yeah,
like him?
he actually took out nearly the entire Green Lantern Corps in
And
one
yeah,
of the storylines.
he beat up both of the Supermen from Earth 1 and Earth 2.
You know what's interesting is they didn't put out a graphic novel. Here I am diving into this thing. They didn't put out a graphic novel on all of the. What would have been great is Superboy Prime, like a collection of all of that nasty stuff.
It would be.
That'd be great.
Well, they
it'd be
sort
too
of
much,
did that,
though, 'cause
except-
Infinite Crisis, he's got a lot of stuff in that, and then they'd have to
That's
sell
right.
that as a separate graphic
And also
novel.
Legion of Three Worlds.
Now,
I think,
DC's
is-
got to make money. They're almost breaking the bank.
Now,
But they kind of did do that with the Tales of the Sinestro Corps graphic novel, which I own and I love.
oh, they did. They assembled some of that storyline.
Yeah, they
didn't
assembled a lot of
So,
the Sinestro Corps storylines from now.
Yeah.
What we can tell is Mike is wrong. No.
Once again, no. I wanted to ask you about Robin, because I know that you don't like the Tim Drake character and you like the Dick Grayson character better. No, the Jason character.
Oh, Jason Todd, definly Mike.
Or was it Damien?
Damien.
That's the one you like the best.
He knows I hate Damien. He knows. So, little brief Robin history is it started out with a lot of people know Dick Grayson, who is the original. You might remember the Speedo, yeah, and
Who turned into Nightwing.
yeah, who then became Nightwing, and then next was Jason Todd, who was the first DC character that they had a call in to vote whether you wanted him to die or not.
And what
And
happened? They wanted him to. They killed him. Wait a minute.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert! Oh no.
And then he came back as, I think, either Red Robin.
Red Hood. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Red Hood.
And,
But first he was Red Robin, right? When he was a slightly good guy
Yeah,
in
he
the
was-
alternate universe of
Yeah,
whatever.
it was the alternate universe of the alternate universe. It was some alternate person.
During the 52 and the 52 offshoots, and you don't want to know. Trust us, Fairfield.
You do not.
This is too involved. But then came another Robin.
Yeah, and
The worst Robin ever, right? I mean, the best, if by worst I mean best.
Introduced in A Lonely Place of Dying is the name of the graphic novel, and it was Tim Drake who was the first Robin to actually ask for the role of being Robin. All the others kind of just fell into it, but yeah, he found out Batman's identity, and he found out that Dick Grayson was Nightwing, and he was the smartest and the best, obviously.
As in a potential, as in a potential detective kind of way, right?
Yeah. He's it's been commonly said that he'll be the world's greatest detective after Batman. And it was actually Lonely Place of Dying was done by the same guy who did this sketch, this is Dick Grayson Robin, but George Perez, the nicest guy on earth. Oh man.
He also did do artwork. He also did do artwork for the Avengers.
And by the way, that's a George Perez signature down here to Gareth. And by the way, he was just doing sketches. I don't know which camera should I be looking at. He was just doing sketches, and he of just like body, the head and shoulders and all that. But for this guy, he did all this extra stuff, and we do have a picture from Comic-Con of George's new best buddy Gareth. That's really wonderful.
He was the nicest guy there ever. Yeah. But yeah, he was the first one to draw the Tim Drake character, and that's my favorite character in the DC universe.
Though out of all George Perez's work, I still like his Avengers work.
Yeah. His Avengers work is great, although my favorite still by George Perez would be Crisis on Infinite Earths.
So what you do is break a pool stick, and we'll fight to the death.
Okay, where's the pool stick?
But yeah, and then it was Tim Drake, and he later became Red Robin, but he had the longest run of Robin.
I think after that was the first female Robin.
Stephanie Brown, yeah. And
who then eventually became Batgirl.
Yeah, she's Batgirl right now. She was Spoiler, and then she was Robin, then she died, then she was Spoiler again, and then she's Batgirl now.
Now, is she Batgirl now?
Yeah, currently.
So when they rebooted, which I hate, by the way.
Yeah, I also hated
DC,
that.
if you're listening to our
Fairfield why did you do this? Why did you do this? Right? All of Fairfield is angry at you, DC.
I think actually all of the DC Universe fans are actually pretty ticked.
Yeah.
You know what? When we went to the convention, by the way, we're cat's out of the bag. We went to the convention together. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, so much fun.
It was a lot of fun. And
lucky.
And we met up with a couple of with Garrett's friend and his father and all that. And it was great. But the thing that didn't come off. And I thought it was going to. Every time I brought up, doesn't the new 52 suck? Everybody, they would say, well, no, there are some fans that liked it. And I couldn't tell, was that because there were people towing the line and they couldn't say that the new 52 sucked?
Well, yeah,
the
new 52 does have a certain amount of suckage.
Very big suckage.
Yeah. Okay, Grant, I like the design. That's most of the stuff that I like.
Yeah, if they had kept the storyline. The ruined characters.
I like the new
Superman.
Titans. The new Titans is kind of cool. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek, which is nice. And
but they kind of had that at the beginning of the old Titans, too, when they started that.
And they just started bringing in Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, they just brought back Captain Marvel?
Yeah, he's got like
being somebody who doesn't even read the comics anymore. So
it's got like a little tiny piece at the end of each Justice League comic where Captain Marvel makes an appearance, but
he's like a part of an adoptive family.
He's also not a jerk.
He's also a jerk. Right?
Yeah. They made him like he used to be. The reason he was Captain Marvel because he was the nicest boy ever, and now just kind of goes to show what the New 52 did. It turned the nicest character ever into a mean little jerk.
But the second nicest character ever, they turned him into a bit of a jerk too, which would be
Superman.
Yeah,
he's a bit of a jerk.
And who did they actually make more endearing? Who was it? Who was like dark?
Batman.
Yeah.
Batman. Yeah.
Yeah, Batman is now even more endearing than he was before. It's like, well, what are you doing with these comics? It's the exact opposite, sort of, in some respects, that you had the other ones. Anyway, enough of that. Let's talk.
I hate Damian.
Yeah, you can't wait till Damian gets offed, and I'll bet you at some point.
I can't wait. Damian gets offed, I'll be a happy guy.
So who else did we meet on this fine
We
fest?
met Neil Adams.
Not Neil Adams.
The Neil Adams.
No. Neil Adams, in case you're way, way, way too young to know this, but there was a Green Lantern, Green Arrow, controversial but very award-winning storyline that they had for a few.
I have actually heard of Neil Adams
because it's a road trip. Go ahead.
Watched a featurette on New Frontier for Justice League, which, by the way, when it comes to animated films, awesome. Especially DC animated films because it's based on a very popular DC comic.
So it flips. What happens is in the Marvel universe they have the on-screen better movies at this point, right? Maybe with the exception of the Dark Knight.
Dark Knight is awesome.
Okay.
No, Dark Knight was DC.
That's what I'm saying. The
yeah.
Marvel versus DC
Yeah,
on film.
Dark Knight.
Marvel wins, like I said, as Avengers, Captain America. Thor's my least favorite of that batch.
But I did love Thor.
But it was good, and they're making a second one. What do I know? But then with DC, you still have something pretty formidable. You have the Dark Knight.
Yeah, the Marvel comics right now, the actual comics of Marvel comics.
Yeah,
I'm
they've
not
actually
wild
been.
But
They haven't
anime-
rebooted it as much as DC has.
All right, now anime though, but not anime, but animation. Anime. We'll get back in anime.
Oh, speaking of anime,
Oh,
Marvel
we already knew
has
this was gonna
anime series now. Well, they used to have anime series on G4.
What is it?
They had an X-Men animated series, a Wolverine animated series, and a Blade animated series.
And what was the DC anime series that they had?
The DC anime series?
You
Teen
and I like this a
Titans?
lot.
Teen Titans, yeah. Teen Titans.
I remember watching Teen Titans
But
crap
Teen-
tons.
But Teen Titans already over though. That's not going on currently.
What did they have? Was the question? Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
But what's interesting is you have like this take on with anime, and they haven't really followed that up.
Yeah, they haven't. Kinda. They're doing like little shorts where they brought the voices back and they've made. But the shorts are kind of skimping out a little bit.
Well-
they're doing half kind of jobs. They're not really making a new series or anything like that. Young Justice though, on TV right now, that's the best animated superhero cartoon I think for right now.
I used to like the.
Batman?
Sorry, I'm like an old man and I'm talking like this. I used to love. Well, I liked the Batman series a lot, and I liked the
Batman
Superman
series,
series a
awesome.
lot, and I liked the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited a
Justice
lot.
League Unlimited was fun because you could watch all those characters from the comic
That's
books.
right. Now, what's happening to Young Justice?
Is
Lo
they're
and
doing the
behold.
same thing. Yeah, it's awesome. Where you can see all those little characters, you can like play games to spot them out. It's really kind of cool
That's
where
pretty
they
cool.
could take all the characters from the comics into the. They couldn't do that before because there's too much separate people's rights.
Okay, Mikey, Young Justice versus Justice League. Who would win?
Justice League.
You sure about that?
I don't know.
They got youth on their side, you know.
Yeah,
Young Justice.
Young and spry.
Well, then again, Young Justice is from technically out of all their sidekicks.
Okay, fine. But they might.
But Young Justice has got two generations
Except for
on their
now,
side
where
so.
Aqualad's no longer part of the team because I'm not going to spoil it.
Yeah,
What?
don't spoil it because that's going on right now. We
What?
don't want to spoil anything.
What spoil? What are you going to spoil?
Okay, I'm just going to spoil it. Aqualad turned into Black Manta.
No!
And he was one of my all-time favorite characters on the show.
Don't tell me that.
He turned into a bad guy. Then again, in the comics, he was Black Manta's son.
Well, there you go. And by the way, there's a surprise in the next. You obviously haven't seen the next episode, but the next
No.
episode explains what you just said.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, did I just spoil that too? Oh my gosh!
Then
Oh,
again-
no.
Oh.
Fairfield, forgive me. By the way, Fairfield 2.0 is the name of the show, where we're introducing Fairfield to Fairfield and the world, and we are also introducing all sorts of great
And I'm
comic
also introducing how much of a geek I am on YouTube.
We all are.
And also, speaking of my YouTube,
Mike Dooley, by the way, Mike Dooley, Uber, expert, gamer, all the above.
and
I can
comic
think of the
fan
word.
and otaku.
Gareth West, Uber kid.
Oh.
No, Uber.
Gee whiz.
Uber, also comic, and you're an amazing
Aficionado.
gamer, also, right?
I am a pretty big gamer, yeah. Mostly Halo, though.
Mostly Halo.
I like the stuff that I'm good at.
Okay. Enough of that. Back to.
Also,
You were
real
gonna
quick,
go off
if you
something.
would want to, please subscribe to my channel, the MDD Films.
Also, that's
only
why
have
you
one
appeared here. It's
Video up on
advertising.
there,
Free
it's not that
advertising.
much.
What is this? One more time?
And I only have one video up on there, and it's not really that much. It's just a one stupid little toy review of a Japanese Godzilla figure.
and where can they find this?
YouTube.com/user/the MDD Films.
Nice. Okay.
It's
What is the plot?
YouTube.
What is the plot on your
Use-
Godzilla?
No, it's not. It's just a toy review on a Japanese Godzilla figure.
Okay.
Well, the Godzilla speaks Japanese. That's kind of impressive.
No, it's no, it's an imported figure,
Oh,
which not many people can claim to have.
Okay. And you on YouTube? You're on YouTube a little too, aren't you?
oh, well, It's up and coming.
Up and coming? We'll talk about that another time. Okay, fine. All right, back to Comic-Con.
So, we have the next thing.
Not more. Oh my gosh.
More, yeah. Alex Savick. Savick, right?
And who is this fine gentleman? What does he have to do with the Marvel Universe?
A lot of stuff with Marvel and DC. He was one of the artists for a long time that Stan Lee wrote a lot of his stories while he was the artist, which is kind of cool.
Sorry, I just have to do the 90s Spidey theme, because that is the one Spidey show that I absolutely love to death.
Oh, okay. Well, all the Spider-Man shows. Which one?
The 90s show. But there is one Spider-Man show that I am currently trying to get into, but I still can't watch it because it doesn't work on my laptop, being the rare Japanese Spider-Man show that has nothing to do with the American comics.
Wow.
Because he's got a giant robot, and it's not Peter Parker. It's instead a Japanese guy.
It's like Gigantor.
So where does the even similarities begin between Gigantor?
The only similarity.
Gigantor.
Are you going to hit publishing on that?
The only similarities between the Japanese Spider-Man series and the American Spider-Man stuff is, well, the costume. That's it.
Okay. All right, now where I'm going with this 90s show. Who was the voice?
Christopher Barnes, yeah.
What was that? I was going to ask you, who was
the
Christopher Daniel Barnes? Christopher Daniel Barnes was also a character on TV in a couple of series before that. One was a re-envisioning, actually it was a continuation, a sequel, television show to a classic movie called Starman. And they brought back Starman as a television series. It was like 20 episodes, a full season. And it was an amazing thing. It was Starman comes back and he's with his, he now has a son because at the end of Starman, I don't know if you saw Starman, but I can't tell you what happens, but it results in a kid. But the kid, we're now looking at the kid,
Spoiler
I guess 13.
alert!
Spoiler alert! Oh my gosh,
Dragon
we've done it again. And then Starman comes back from the cosmos and is there basically to help raise the kid and to find Jenny Hayden, who is the woman who is the mother, and she's somewhere. She placed the kid up for adoption in order for him to have a normal life.
So now they don't even have to see it.
That's right.
Yeah.
TMI, I don't know.
I guess now they're not going to
make
any money.
Well, I actually thought the voice of Spidey in the 90s cartoon was the same guy who voiced Rick in the new Splatterhouse game, which I forgot his name, but...
Christopher Daniel Barnes?
Christopher Daniel Barnes.
Or Christopher Barnes. He does probably go by Christopher Barnes or Chris.
No, it's not him, but it's somebody else.
All right. Hey, what else you got here?
Well, I've got, besides the graphic novels, our last kind of sketch I brought along, got a couple more at home. This is a Nightwing print, and it's done by the writer, signed it, Kyle Higgins, who's currently writing the Nightwing monthly comic right now for DC. He was a really nice guy also. He was, he actually gave me, I didn't bring it, but
yeah,
he was the writer, and he sketched out, he said he didn't draw very well, but it was really nice of him. He sketched me a Nightwing and then signed it, and he wasn't even...
he was great. He was
a nice guy, yeah.
He was a really nice guy. He sat there and he was like, well, I don't really draw, but I'm going to do this for you.
Yeah.
And for this kid, he's like, did this drawing. It was wonderful.
Yeah, we had a talk, and he agreed that Tim and Dick had a really nice, atmosphere when they're together in the comics, and...
Yep.
That's always cool to have, and he agreed that Tim was an awesome character.
Yep, and I was pitching him to get more about the Bat family type of thing.
Yeah, we were both talking to him about that. It was he agrees though, and then the other guy.
But I don't think he's going to kill Damien like you told him to do.
I'll tell him to kill Damien. I'll call him up.
Keep on him on that.
Hey, God, this kid from
Don't worry, you're not the only one who hates Damien.
Do me a favor, kill that
Damien. A guy I
Damien.
subscribe to hates Damien.
Is there anyone who likes Damien?
I really don't know.
Jerks.
All right, and okay, so we went through your stash. Is there any other thing in your stash?
There's some graphic novels.
Wait, right. Oh,
yeah, we gotta show that. Yeah.
Why? What's that?
A print of cover from one of the Action Comics.
Yeah, and that's by it was signed by Neil Adams.
It's yours.
Okay, fine. It was by my turn. I got this signed by Neil Adams, and actually we had a good deal on this one out of the chaos of the moment.
Well, you did kind of ruin their lives.
We had to ruin their lives in the process, but I got my signature. Anyway, this is one of my favorite storylines from the old Superman series, which was when, I can't really tell you how this happened, but Superman got whomped by a meteor, and the meteor it took an imprint of Superman's body and somehow started from the sand that was in that, became a sand creature Superman. And then the sand creature Superman began to take on more and more of his power and siphon off the power of Superman. The reason why they did that in the old days is because...
So scientifically completely possible. Right?
Exactly. This could happen anywhere at any time. So what they did was they did this because Superman was too powerful. A problem they still have, although maybe with the 52 they've resolved it, but I'm not reading 52 anymore, so go figure.
And I haven't even started with the new 52.
Whatever. Don't bother.
My older one's still going on that.
But what happened was they tried to reduce, because he was like a planet juggler. The Superman was so powerful. So they decided, okay, enough's enough, and they took away some of his powers, which lasted about 5 episodes, and then he was back to planet juggling again. So anyway, this was the storyline.
They kind of did weaken him up also in another thing that is also around my thingy, which was they kind of weakened him up for Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, where he was a playable character. So it's not just one hit fatality.
Yeah, that's the way it should. Oh, hello, Fairfield 2.0, and you're watching us. I have one more thing to show everybody, which is this is a kick because this was by George Perez, and George Perez is my favorite artist, a DC artist of all time, and he ties in, of course, to Crisis on Infinite Earths. But I said to him, can you give me, can you draw, because he asks you, you pay a little bit of money, and he gives you,
a little bit,
$5, and he draws a little something. He draws a little something for you. He'll draw a character that he's drawn in the DC universe. So I asked him to draw Kara. But he said, okay, and then I said, Kara being Kara Zor-El, Supergirl. Everybody knows that. But I said, but can you draw the Crisis version, the one with the headband, very dated from its time? It's like the 80s chick version. So he did that, and this is what he drew. He said, I thought I was so smart, I was so clever asking him, it's like, can you draw not only, Supergirl, but can you draw the Crisis era Supergirl? He said, that's the second request I got for that today. And I went, I thought I was going to be the only request for that. But anyway.
That's the second request for that on the least busy day, so.
Yeah. Thousands of these were done, I'm sure, in the process. One last story about George Perez is that he was such a nice guy that I had asked for a picture, and a lot of people like Stan Lee is another adventure. I'll tell you about in a second. Stan Lee, we should get to the Stan Lee story because that's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
You were asking about panels. I'm going to shut up about the George Perez story. Where that was going was that we had such a good time with him that he came around from the table and he took these pictures. One of Garrett that I'll tell you about, but he was just the most giving person, I think, at that event. And when he saw costumes that he liked, he would get his camera out and he would go take pictures. So he was totally into the Comic-Con. This wasn't just him doing it for work. On the other hand, there's Stan Lee.
He was doing it, for the money, a little bit.
I think, but also he was definitely as a star.
He's funny though. People think of him as like this perfect, like, sweet old man with like the Stan Lee Excelsior, like he's
feisty. He can be
mean a little bit,
mean.
He's funny. It's like his stick,
self-aggrandizing.
Yeah,
his
his
really
shtick
amazing.
Is that he's totally self-centered. It
was amazing, and he plays into the shtick. He plays into that persona. What did he give away? As far as he didn't give it away, but he said because he couldn't give it away.
He's got a cameo in Iron Man 3, so look out for that.
And he considers that
his best cameo. Yeah. Oh, what? Is this like a trivia thing? What's going on here?
We're going to go on over every nuance of the Stan Lee. I was waiting for a Stan Lee signature. I had, I forgot it. Oh my God, of all the things I forgot. One of the first things I did in the music business, not the reason why I'm in the music business, the reason why I was on that line to get Stan Lee's signature was because he had done the voiceover for an album that I had a song on, my first cover song. It was on this album called Rock Reflections of a Superhero, Spider-Man.
Which, is probably the only thing Stan Lee has done in a long time.
We'll get into this. We'll do the story real quick. But he, during the Q&A, I asked him, I got up to the microphone and I asked him, which do you like better, Bono's musical version of Spider-Man or Rock Reflections of a Superhero, Spider-Man, that you narrated? And he went, what is that? I don't even know what is that. I don't know what that is. So I was egged on by the audience to bring it up because I was just going to pass it up. Like somebody said, pass it up to him. And I said, oh, okay. And I passed it. And they went, no, bring it up, bring it up. So I brought it up to him and he's looking at it and he goes, oh, yeah. He says, my name's on it. It must be good, which was good. And then also he noticed, he saw it was John Romita artwork, John Romita being one of the more classic Spider-Man artists. And he said, this is good. This is John Romita. Yeah. And he was just he had a really good moment with that, I remember. And then as I stood online with, waiting for a signature to get that CD signed, he looked at it again and he went, oh, this again. And he was kidding around. And he went, yeah, I sort of remember this. So he sort of remembered it when we were online. But you got to realize this was done in 1976. That's a lot of years ago for a guy who's 90 years old.
And does tons of voice work.
Does tons of, and of course all those cameos at the end of every Marvel movie. And of course he's technically a producer, although I have a feeling what they do is they just put his name on there, pay him a certain amount of money, and it gives credit to the movie. So. I think that's probably what happens with Stan Lee. But Stan was for a 90-year-old, were those jokes coming?
He jumped off the stage and...
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I know. He landed that. It was like hardcore parkour right there.
It was great. There were a couple of other Q&As that we went to. One was the Three Captains, Star Trek, for any Star Trek fans out there.
We were a little bit iffy on that just because we were at the very back. We got in.
We were the very last.
Yeah. We just made it in. And then the other one was Laura Vandervoort and Dean Cain.
Yeah.
Which was really cool because Laura Vandervoort was there. She played Smallville. She did not play Smallville. She played Supergirl in Smallville.
She played Supergirl in Smallville, and she also played one of the characters in V.
Yeah.
And we were talking, the discussion was, I got to ask a question there too, which was, we were pretty busy asking questions, weren't we?
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Awesome.
One of the questions I asked was, at the end of these series, you're looking at the fans in this room, and everybody here is disappointed because their favorite show, for some of these people, has now ended without closure, without an ending, without a last episode.
Oh, like classic cases, what we got right here. Oh.
Firefly. Oh my gosh. But then we also have Serenity, which was the sequel.
Which was the ending.
Sort of the ending.
Yeah.
They were hoping to have another run.
Would have been better, more spaced out if it was, another season. But, 2-hour movie works too, I guess.
Oh, you know what, Joss Whedon, question I forgot to ask? How come James Marsters didn't, when he was talking about Joss Whedon, I didn't ask how come he didn't make any kind of appearance, even a guest appearance on Firefly or Serenity.
I don't know. Yeah. Was Buffy before or after Firefly?
Before.
Anyway, before. Buffy was like 8 years.
That would have been interesting to hear because he did like Firefly. He did reference it too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
go
on. Anyway, the answer that they had was basically, well, I said, is it getting better? Are the producers and directors understanding now that fans are going to be out of their minds if there's no closure on these series?
Yeah, that was a sad answer.
And they said, well, it's about money. It's about if the television series ends, well, then that's what you've got. Well, that's what it is.
She listed two people. There's the bean counters, and then there's the people who actually care about whether or not they leave the series with people feeling fulfilled. Right. And she said the bean counters usually went out with just the money.
And Dean Cain, who was also on that board, was who played, of course, Superman in Lois and Clark.
Yeah, and he's about to little plug-in. Isn't he in Stars and Stripes or whatever? Stars Earn Their Stripes? That's premiering sometime on TV. That's what he's doing, yeah.
But he's another one who came on board. Lois and Clark was renewed for a 5th year. They were all ready to come back, except that his co-star had to go and get pregnant. Which was ironic because the storyline was they had a baby at the very last episode.
They just waited a season. She could have played the pregnant Lois.
Just one season. Why'd you do that? All right, it looks like, guys, we're going to have to wrap things up. But before we leave, advice to people as far as something to check out. We're not going to say the word buy or whatever, but what should people check out if they don't know about it already? It could be a game, it could be a series, it could be anything.
Well, ones that honestly I recommend the most. MVC3.
Okay.
Clearly. Minecraft, though, mainly if you have a PC, well, screwed, just a computer or an Xbox. Halo Wars, mainly for the Halo fans, and also real-time strategy game fans. Warhammer, I would actually say, yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Cool.
What about you?
We
We didn't even look at Hush. Wait a minute. I gotta get that in quick.
we got Hush, Batman Hush.
Things that you bought at the convention.
Yeah, currently my favorite Batman graphic novel, actually. I just read this, Batman The Long Halloween. Just really good. It's been like almost every top 25 or top 10 Batman list. It's always somewhere at the top. It's really graphic. Awesome. The art is really good. Good things
It's
happen.
good.
It's
It's just
good.
good.
This is the sequel to Batman Long Halloween and Dark Victory.
Where's the third one? There's a third one, right?
There is actually
Where's
a
the third one?
I don't have that.
Well,
third
how
one.
come you don't have the third one?
And
You didn't bring any of your guns.
oh, I didn't bring my guns. Oh,
That would have been.
that would have been interesting.
We're gonna
Yeah.
have to have a part 2 to this show.
Yeah, and
Um,
this is actually a retelling of the origins of Dick Grayson Robin, and this
Nice.
Long Halloween is a retelling of the origin of Two-Face, I believe. Yeah.
Nice.
So.
All right, Fairfield. I guess that wraps up another exciting episode, truly exciting episode of Fairfield
True
2.0.
believers.
For all you true believers out there. Excelsior! We'll do that for Stanley. This was a lot of fun for me. I got to be 14 again. Thank you.
Oh, 12.
All right, thanks a lot. But I want to throw out there that you should be on the show too. Remember that. So always the door is open. The invitation is there for Fairfield to be on Fairfield 2.0. This is your show. This is not my show, even though sometimes I slip and I go, my show, my show. But it's really about you. It's about Fairfield, introducing Fairfield to Fairfield and the world. And don't forget to check it out on YouTube. Just type in Fairfield 2.0 and a whole bunch of episodes will come in. And like I said, come in at any episode you'd like as long as it's one and you work your way through. So I thank you again. And, I was busy listening to Bruno Mars, I believe, earlier, so I think I'm going to get back to that. But, you guys do what you want to do. Go have a little fun. And take care, Fairfield. See you next time.